Hello students, today we are going to discuss a very interesting chapter, dimension analysis, which comes under the chapter units and measurements. So, dimensional analysis. Before we understand dimension analysis, we should understand what exactly is a physical quantity. In our day-to-day lives, we come across so many different quantities. We can classify them into two categories. Category 1 is the one which cannot be measured. Like when you look up to this outer space, it's immeasurable. We can't measure the dimensions of the space which is around us. Now, but if you talk about the volume occupied by a cube, for example, the amount of water you have in a glass, these are not measurable quantities. A car is moving on the road, we can measure how much is the speed. So the quantities which are measurable, we can classify as a physical quantity. So when I say a physical quantity, then it means a measurable quantity. Measurable quantity. Anything you can measure is a physical quantity, and anything which you cannot measure is not a physical quantity. Now, when you talk about measurable, then we need a system for measuring it, and this is where the systems of measurements come into effect. Whenever we talk about systems of measurement, in fact, for measuring anything, you need a unit. You need a what? You need a unit. Now, units can be classified into two categories. One we have fundamental units. First I will talk about unit, fundamental unit, also known as base units. Now the other type of units that we encounter are called derived units. Derived units. So when you talk about measurement, a physical quantity is the one which can be measured. When you talk about measurement, we need a unit. And the units can be classified into two categories. One is fundamental unit, the other is what? Derived units. We'll understand what is fundamental unit or base units. Now base units are the ones which are independent of all other units. Meaning, if I want to measure a SI unit, it does not depend upon other physical quantities. In the earlier days, there were only three basic units. Three basic units. These are units of length, mass, and time. In the earlier days, there were only three basic units. The units of length, mass, and time. Length is denoted as L, mass is denoted as M, and time is denoted as T. So what we understood? We understood fundamental units are those units which do not depend upon other physical quantities for their measurements, and in the earlier days there were three fundamental units: the units of length, which is L, mass represented by M, and time represented by T. Now, we come to what are derived units. Derived units. You see, as the name implies, derived units are derived from which units? Fundamental units. So the units which are derived from fundamental units are derived units, or units which are not fundamental units and they are derived units. Or we can also say like this: the derived units are the units which depend upon other units for their measurements. Let's see an example. See, if anything which is not linked mass and time, for the time we will say they are derived units. For example, if I want to measure speed, speed is distance upon time. So you can clearly see the speed is depending upon what? Two physical quantities. One is distance is L, and time is t. So everything else which is not length, mass and time, for the time being we will call derived units. Now, for measuring these fundamental units, in fact, depending on the regions in which the scientists are working upon them, there were three systems of measurements, and these systems of measurements were developed for base units. So let's answer what are these systems of measurement. There are three systems of measurements. One is called MKS system. In fact, this system was dominated by the Americans. When Americans began dominating areas of science and technology, they took meter. M means meter, K means kilogram, and S means second. So you can clearly see that there is L, M, and T. Like I said, earlier there were only three basic units: length, mass, and time. But Europeans, they mostly work with two different systems of measurements. One is called CGS system. C means centimeter, G means gram, and S means second. You can see centimeter again is length, L, gram is again mass, and second is time. So again we have same basic units: length, mass, and time. Now the third system of measurement again was being used very extensively in Europe, which is FPS system. FPS system, which is foot, pound, and second. So you can again see length, foot is length, pound is mass, and second is time. So earlier three systems of measurements, that is MKS, CGS, and FPS, they regarded only three basic units: the units of length, mass, and time. But as the new quantities were being discovered rapidly by science, it was felt that only three basic units were not enough. For example, if you wanted to measure the intensity of light, for example, these three were not enough. If you wanted to measure temperature, again these three fundamental units were not enough. If you wanted to measure the amount of substance which is not mass but which is number, then also these were not enough. So slowly there was a growing need to develop a system which could incorporate more basic units, and therefore in 1960 SI system was developed. So we will be discussing SI system. SI system of units in fact is an extended form of MK system. MK system is, as you know already, meter, kilogram, and second. Now four more fundamental or basic units are added. Let's see then. We have mass, M, its unit was kilogram, length, which is denoted by L. Its unit is meter. Kilogram is written as kg for short. Meter M. Time, which is T. Its unit was second. Its short abbreviation is S. So meter can be written, kilogram can be written as kg, which can be written as M, second can be written as S. Now you can see that these three are basically technical fundamental units that we discussed earlier, three basic units. Now four basic units were added up. Amount of substance, amount of substance, mole. Its symbol is also mole. Then we have intensity of light. Its unit is candela. CD. Then we have temperature, or you can say absolute temperature. Absolute temperature. Its unit is Kelvin, denoted by K. Then you have electric current. Electric current, which is ampere. Symbol is A. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 basic units which are developed and incorporated into the SI system. The first three units remain the same as you have seen in case of MK system or in case of FPS system, but basically they are extension of MK system. You can see kilogram, meter and second. And the four new units which have been added is amount of substance, which is mole, intensity of light, which is candela, absolute temperature is measured in terms of Kelvin, the symbol is K, and electric current, which is measured in terms of ampere and denoted by A. So these are the symbols which have to be in mind. kg, m, s, mole is full mole, cg, k and ampere. Now, two more supporting fundamental units were included. These are the main basic units. Then we have subsidiary fundamental units. Subsidiary or supporting fundamental units. Two supporting fundamental units have been taken. One is unit of plane angle. Unit of plane angle, it is measured in terms of radian. It can be written as RD or theta to the power C. C stands for circular system of measurement remaining in mathematics. Now what is the plane angle? Actually, plane angle is angle separated by any arc or any length. For example, if I consider AB as arc and O as center of the circle, suppose the arc is S and the radius is R, then this angle in radian is theta c is equal to R by radius, or theta in radian will be S by R. This is C. If you don't like to write C, you can also write theta RD for radian. So plane angle. So among these between these two fundamental units, supporting fundamental unit that we talk about, first is the unit of plane angle, and this unit is radian. Remember this. Now the second supporting fundamental unit is unit of solid angle. Unit of solid angle. And this is called steradian, denoted by SR. So first unit of plane angle, then the unit of solid angle. Now what is a solid angle? Whenever you look at an object which is solid, a solid object, when I look at this, for example, a solid sphere, then angle subtended by the solid sphere at this point is called what? Angle in steradians. If the area is delta A and the distance is r, then delta A by r square is angle in radians, delta A by r square. And what is unit? Steradian. So what we discuss now? We discuss there are 7 basic or fundamental units. Once again we will find out this discussion: mass, length, time, amount of substance, intensity of light, temperature, electric current, and then there are 2 supporting fundamental units. You can see unit of plane angle, which is radian, and unit of solid angle, which is steradian. Now once we have gained complete understanding of the systems of measurements, then we will go to the dimensions. We will see exactly what is a dimensional analysis and how do we go about doing dimensional analysis. Now, just now we discussed the concept of fundamental units and basic units, which is basically the same, and then we discussed the concept of derived units. Now, whenever we talk about derived units, in derived units what happens? We express every physical quantity in terms of basic units or fundamental units. Now, whenever we express any physical quantity, now mind my words, whenever we express any physical quantity in terms of fundamental or basic units, then it is done by raising certain powers to the basic units, and the powers which we raise is called dimensions. Let's mention one is here. Suppose I am writing speed, for example, or suppose I am writing velocity. Velocity is distance divided by time. Now, distance is which basic unit? Length. And time is time. Length of writing is L, symbolically, and time of writing is T. So it becomes L to the power minus 1. So when I am writing velocity in terms of basic units, I am writing L t to the power minus 1, which is essentially L to the power 1 t to the power minus 1. Now L and T are basic units, and remember 1 and minus 1 are powers. So these powers are called dimensions. Powers are called dimensions. And if I close the whole term in square bracket, it becomes dimensional formula. So let's answer what is dimension and what is dimensional formula. Dimension. When we represent a physical quantity in terms of basic units, then the exponents or the powers that we raise to the basic units are called dimensions, and the formula containing the basic units and dimensions is called dimensional formula. For example, I can write dimension formula for velocity will be L t to the power minus 1. Now, let's understand how significant these dimensions are. For example, suppose I want to express acceleration in terms of basic units, where acceleration is change in velocity divided by change in time. Delta will change. Now velocity, if I break in terms of basic unit, just now we did L to the power minus 1 times L to the power minus 2. I can write this also. Acceleration is equal to L t to the power minus 2. When you look at these two physical quantities, velocity and acceleration, they are both different. When I look at the dimension formulas, you can see the basic units are same, L and T. But because powers we are raising are different, 1 and minus 1, 1 and minus 2, we are getting totally different physical quantities. So this is what we want to specify here, that these powers which we are raising are very important, and this is what we call as dimension of a given physical quantity. So, how will we write a physical quantity in terms of its dimension formula? The steps are very simple. Step 1 is you should know the formula. Know the formula. It is not necessary that you have to learn all these dimensions. Not necessary. Very easy. You must know the formula. Like I said, velocity is equal to displacement upon time. Displacement upon time. You should know the formula. Acceleration is equal to velocity upon time. You should know the formula. Now step 2 is express the formula in terms of basic units. This is step 2. Step 3, complete the formula by raising dimensions. So these are the steps that we follow. Know the formula, express the formula in terms of basic units, and complete the formula by raising dimensions. Now we will be discussing dimension formula for some of the commonly used physical quantities. For example, let's see velocity. Velocity is displacement divided by time. Displacement is which basic unit? L. Time is t, becomes L to the power minus 1. So we can say velocity dimension formula is L to the power minus 1. Acceleration, like as we saw here already, acceleration is equal to change in velocity divided by change in time. Now, changing velocity is the same as velocity itself in terms of dimensions. When I translated velocity in terms of dimension formula, I got 8 e to the power minus 1. So I don't have to do it again. Divide by t, we get 8 e to the power minus 2. Now, suppose I want to get force, or let's say momentum. You should know the formula like I said. Simple momentum is P, as you know already, is equal to mass into velocity. I will be writing the formula also here. P is equal to mv2. This is the formula which have been will be taught, maybe you have done already. Now, I do not have to translate in terms of basic units now, because I already know that mass basic unit is m and velocity is 8 e to the power minus 1. So this is m 8 e to the power minus 1. So, dimensional formula for momentum. Here, momentum is m L e to the power minus 1. Very easy to find. We calculate how much is momentum. Now force. Force is mass into acceleration. Children remember the formula F is equal to m into a. M is mass and A is acceleration. I already know mass is m, acceleration is 8 e to the power minus 2. So it is m 8 e to the power minus 2. So you can see it is very easy. We are very simply deriving dimensional formula for this physical quantity. So we got for velocity, acceleration, momentum, and then we got what? Force. Now let's see more physical quantities. So here I will be writing force is m L e to the power minus 2. Here we calculate now impulse. Impulse is product of force and time. Product of force and time is called impulse. Now, force we already know. We calculate again ml t to the power minus 2. Time is t. We must simplify these two. Then what we get? ml e to the power minus 1. Very interesting. When I look at dimensional formula for impulse, here it is ml e to the power minus 1. So clearly you can see that impulse and momentum, they are same dimensional formula. So basically they will have the same unit also. They will have the same unit also. Next is rate of change of momentum. Let's see rate of change of momentum will be delta p by delta t, where p is momentum, delta is change. Momentum we already calculated m L e to the power minus 1 by t, m L e to the power minus 2. So you can see the rate of change of momentum has got same dimensional formula as force. So we can say the rate of change of momentum will be similar to force in terms of units and dimensions. Now we have work. Let's see the dimensional formula for work. Work is equal to force into displacement. Force into displacement. Direction formula of force you already know. Direction formula for force you already know is N L T to the power minus 2 into L N L square to the power minus 2. This is direction formula for work. Now, energy. You know that all the energy are measured in terms of the same unit called joule or hour. So suppose I can take any energy for that matter. Suppose I am taking potential energy, for example. Potential energy, you know the formula. U is equal to mgh. U is the symbol of potential energy. M is mass. G is acceleration due to gravity. H is height. So it will be direction formula for mgh. So it will be direction formula for m, direction formula for g, direction formula for h. M is m only, direction formula. G is acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity will be same as direction formula for any acceleration. H is height, and height is which physical quantity? Length. So when you combine this, I get m l squared to the power minus 2. So when you look at these two, you find that dimensionally they are both same. Work and energy. Similarly, let's see another physical quantity, torque. Torque is equal to product of force and perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance. Dimension formula of force is mL to the power minus 2. Perpendicular distance, any distance for that matter, is which basic unit? Length. So I multiply by L, it becomes mL square to the power minus 2. So we come across a very interesting conclusion out here. You can see that these three physical quantities, work, energy and torque, they have same dimensional formula. Alright? So they will have same units also. Now let's see density. Density is the ratio of mass divided by volume. You know the formula, rho is equal to m by v. Mass, that is the formula of mass is m and volume is L cube. So it will be m into L to the power minus 3. Dimension formula for density is m L to the power minus 3. Now there is another term that we come across called the relative density. Relative density. We in short write this as RD. Relative density is density of substance divided by density of water. Density of substance divided by density of water. So when I talk about dimensional formula for density of substance, density, no matter in whatever form we take, will have just the same fundamental unit and same dimensional formula. You can see that the cancel, you get F to the power 0, L to the power 0. So it's quite interesting to note that density has a dimensional formula m L to the power minus 3. However, relative no dimension formula. It is dimensionless. It is m raised to power 0, l to the power 0. Now, once again related to now angle. Suppose I am saying plane angle. Let's see dimension formula of plane angle. And unit of plane angle is what? Radian. So in other words, we can ask you what is dimension formula for radian. So radian is arc divided by radius. Theta is equal to theta c is s by r. S is arc and r is radius. Now, if I break it in terms of basic units, arc is which physical quantity? L. Radius is which physical quantity? L. L by L is L equal to 0. Very interesting. Plane angle, it has a unit, but it has no dimension. What is dimension? 0. Dimension is what? Power, like we said earlier. So it's very interesting to note that angle is such a physical quantity which has no dimension, but it has a unit. If somebody will ask you, name a physical quantity which has no dimension, which is dimensionless but has a unit, then you can say angle. Similarly, when I talk about solid angle, I already told you the formula delta by r square is equal to area divided by distance square. Area dimension formula is L square. Distance is L. If you square what you get? L square. So here also it is L square. At the power 0. So you can see both the angles, plane angle and solid angle, they have the units. As you know, unit of plane angle is radian and solid angle is steradian, but they do not have any dimension. They both are dimensionless. This is very important information for you, and just keep this in your mind. Plane angle and solid angle both are dimensionless. Now we have a method for strain. Strain is change in length divided by initial length. Initial length, change in length, if I write dimensional formulas, is L. Initial length is outside, so that equals 0. You can see that strain has no dimension. It is dimensionless quantity. Dimensionless quantity. It has no dimension. Dimension is 0. Similarly, when you talk about trigonometric ratios, like suppose I am saying sin theta. Suppose I am saying sin theta. Sin is what? Perpendicular by hypotenuse. For example, so perpendicular is which physical quantity? Length L to the power 0. So all trigonometric ratios, I can say like this: trigonometric ratios are dimensionless, L to the power 0. So by now I'm sure you have understood the concept of dimension analysis. We have discussed so many physical quantities and we will be discussing some more. Now, let's talk about surface tension. Surface tension. Surface tension is divided by, defined as force by length. The formula is T is equal to F by L. When I try to write dimension formulas here, force already know. Force is M L T to the power minus 2. Length is L. Is M T to the power minus 2. So this is surface tension. Now, spring constant. Spring constant. K is equal to force by elongation. In fact, the formula children is F is equal to K equals. Like I told you, dimension formula is very easy, but you have to know the different formula that we are using for deriving these physical quantities. F is equal to K into X. So you can say K is equal to F by X. Force by elongation. Force dimension formula is N L to the power minus 2 divided by elongation, which is equal to Z. So it will be F to the power minus 2. Now again, if you study the dimension formula of surface tension and dimension formula of spring constant, you find that both are basically same. So we are coming across so many examples where physical quantities have different names, but they have simply dimensional formulas. Frequency, dimension formula for frequency. Frequency symbol is nu, is 1 by time. So it is t to the power minus 1. T to the power minus 1. Pressure, as you know, pressure is force by area. Very easy to write. Formula is P is equal to F by A. Force already know. Force is N L to the power minus 2. Area is L square, so it becomes N L to the power minus 1 to the power minus 2. Very easy. Pressure M L to the power minus 1 to the power minus 2. Stress. Stress, we have also force by area. So force like before, mL to the power minus 2 divided by L square, it becomes m L to the power minus 1 to the power minus 2. So you can see that pressure and stress, they are same physical, basically same units, and dimension also they are same. Now let's talk about modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity is stress divided by strain. So dimension formula for modulus of elasticity is dimension formula for stress divided by dimension formula for strain. So stress is N, here you can see L to the power minus 1 to the power minus 2. Strain is L to the power 0. So it is M L to the power minus 1 to the power minus 2. So we can say that modulus of elasticity, stress and pressure, they are same dimensional formulas. So we are coming across a lot of physical quantities which are dimensionally same. Now, let's discuss some more important physical quantities and the dimensional formulas. For example, universal constant of gravitation. Universal constant of gravitation. Its symbol is G. It's called universal constant gravitation because its value is same anywhere in the universe. You know the formula already. F is equal to G mass into mass divided by distance square. This is the formula I'm going to use. So G will be equal to F into R square divided by M1 into M2. So universal constant gravitation G is equal to, if I use this formula which I have in the lower class, maybe G is F into R square, M1 into M2. R is distance, M1 M2 masses, and F is force. If we put in these values, then F, we put F, that is formula M t to the power minus 2. R square is M square. M into M. You can see it will be M L to the power 4 t to the power minus 2 divided by M square. So it will be M to the power minus 1 L to the power 4 t to the power minus 2. So this is universal constant gravitation G. Please remember, it is an important quantity. Actually, we will be using extensively this quantity in the gravitation chapter. N to the power minus 1, N to the power 4, T to the power minus 2. Now we have Planck's constant. Planck's constant symbol is H. So these are new formulas in class 11. In the beginning you may not be knowing. So I will advise you learn all these formulas. Planck's constant is related to energy of a photon. Energy E is equal to H into nu. E is energy, H is Planck's constant, nu is frequency. So from here I can derive the formula. Planck's constant H is equal to energy E divided by frequency nu. And from here onwards, it's very easy for you to work out. It will be H is equal to, and this dimension formula we already know, M L square to the power minus 2. Frequency we already derived earlier, to the power minus 1. So it will be, if you solve it, M L square to the power minus 1. So you calculated how what is that formula of Planck's constant. Now we are discussing universal gas constant. Universal gas constant, its symbol is R. We know the gas, we derive from gas equation. Gas equation PV is equal to nRT. PV is equal to nRT. You can see R will be PV by N into T, right? So dimension formula for gas constant will be dimension formula for P pressure, M L to the power minus 1 to the power minus 2. We already derived it from P is equal to by A, that is M L to the power minus 2 divided by L square. If you have any confusion, you can always derive on the spot. There is no need to worry. So pressure we know, volume we know is what? L cube. N is mole, T is absolute temperature, so it is T only. Now when you simplify, you get M A to the power 2 T to the power minus 2 minus 3 the dimensional formula of a gas constant here? M L square T to minus 3 1 to power minus 1. So these are dimensions 1, 2, minus 3 and minus 1. The powers are the dimensions. Now let's see some more physical quantities. Charge Q is equal to I into T. You know what is I? I is current and T is time. Dimensional formula of current is what? A times T. So what is dimensional formula of charge? A into T. Very easily we find dimensional formula of charge is A into time. So we saw the dimensional formula of charge which is A into T, where A stands for ampere and T stands for time. Now we see electric field E. Naturally these formulas are new for you, but you come across these formulas later on, and I am writing most of these formulas for you to refer to in case you are not aware of these formulas. Electric field is given as E is equal to F by Q, where very simply you can see F is force and Q is charge, and writing here as well. Electric field E is equal to force divided by charge. So if I am writing the dimensional formula of electric field is equal to force by dimensional formula for force divided by dimensional formula for charge. And dimensional formula for force you already know, that is M L e to minus 2 A into T. So you will get M L T to the power minus 3 A to the power minus 1. So this is the formula of electric field. Now there is another term that we come across very often, that is electric potential. Electric potential V is equal to work W by charge Q. Now very easy, we can just put the dimensional formula for work and charge, and we can get dimensional formula for potential. So potential will be dimensional formula for work divided by dimensional formula for charge, and you know that work is ml t power minus 2, charge is A into T, so we get it m L square t power minus 3 into minus 1. So this is electric potential. Now actually you will come across these terms in class 12, but knowing how we derive these quantities to give confidence at this stage is very important. So we are discussing many more quantities which are required in class 12. For example, we have magnetic field. Magnetic field, the symbol is V. There are so many formulas that I can use for magnetic field. For example, F is equal to I into or P is equal to F of 1 I into L. I can use this formula for calculating what is the dimensional formula for magnetic field. So here it is. Magnetic field is equal to force divided by current into length. Children, I will be writing down the formula for force, which is N L T to the power minus 2. Current is ampere A, length is L. So what do you get? M. L will cancel out. T to the power minus 2. Current to the power minus 1. So this is the formula of magnetic field. Now we have another important quantity that we use very often. Is called permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space, that is epsilon naught. We can easily derive it from Coulomb's law. F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square. From here you can see that epsilon 0 will be q1 q2 divided by 4 pi f into r square. So dimension formula for epsilon 0 will be q1 is charge, q2 is also charge. So we are writing here charge into charge. Now you know 4 pi. 4 is dimensionless. Pi is also dimensionless constant. So 4 pi is dimensionless. There are no dimensions. So it is force into distance square. Now we put in the dimensions. Charge is A into T. The charge is also A into T. Force is ml T to the power minus 2. Distance is L square. If we simplify this, we get A square T square n L cube T to the power minus 2. If we simplify, then permittivity of free space, epsilon 0 will have dimensions L to the power minus 1, L to the power minus 3, T to the power 4 into A square. So this is the formula of permittivity of free space. Now we have permeability of free space. Permeability of free space we denote by epsilon naught. For calculating mu naught, for calculating permeability of free space, that is mu naught, you can use a simple formula B is equal to mu 0 Ni. Mu 0 will be V divided by N into Y. So we will be writing permeability mu naught equals to B. N is dimensionless, so here I write the name also. Magnetic field divided by current. Magnetic field, you can see we have already derived here. M T to the power minus 2, A to the power minus 1. Current is A. If you divide, then you get M T to the power minus 2, A to the power minus So this is permeability of free space denoted by V naught. We'll see coefficient of viscosity. Coefficient of viscosity, that is eta. Now we'll understand how we'll calculate dimensional formula for coefficient of viscosity denoted by eta. In fact, for calculating coefficient of viscosity, we have to use the viscous force equation. F is equal to eta A into V by X. F is force, eta is what I am calculating, A is area, surface area in contact, V is velocity, X is distance. We will begin this equation in hydrodynamics in later part of class 11. So from here I can write, you can clearly see eta is equal to F into X divided by A into V. Very easy. So dimensional formula for coefficient of viscosity, eta will be equal to force into distance divided by area into velocity. Let's put in the dimensional formulas. Force is m L T to the power minus 2. Distance is L square. Area is, distance is L. Area is L square. Velocity is L T to the power minus 1. We simplify this, it becomes m L into L is L square, T to the power minus 2. L into L is L square, T to the power minus 1. So you can see this will cancel and we will be getting m T to the power minus 1. Easy? We use this equation, force into X divided by A into V. We put in the formulas here. And this is 1 L is left. So it will become N L to the minus 1 to the minus. So here we write eta is equal to dimensional formula is N L to the minus 1 to the minus 1. So children, we discussed this chapter very extensively. In this chapter, we discussed what is a physical quantity. Let's go for a synopsis, close roundup of the whole discussion that we have had. Then we discussed types of units. You know, there are four. Basically, here if you look at this, there are three initial three systems: MKS, MPS, and now SI system. In SI system, there are 7 fundamental units and 2 subsidiary fundamental units. And then we discussed what is dimensional formula. Dimensional formula basically involves conversion of physical quantity into basic units, and by using the certain representation like mass is m, length is l, t is time, candela is c, ampere is a, Kelvin is k, amount of substance is mole, ranging specific powers, exponents which are dimensions. And then we try to derive dimensional formula for so many quantities. It's very easy. I want to tell you that you should not be bogged down by the thought of remembering so many formulas at a time. No, it's not necessary. You only have to know the formulas, specific formulas for each physical quantity that you want to evaluate, and you should be able to simplify, break it down in terms of the basic quantities, and then solve it. That's it. That will come as a dimensional formula. So thank you very much. We'll be discussing the application of dimensional analysis in the next chapter. Thank you.